Sorry, I'm in the wall. Yeah, my bad. I should have gone straight. I thought I'll just make it. I could.
What just unfolded in Montreal has left Ferrari not only shaken, but genuinely stunned. Charles Leclerc, one of the most talented and explosive drivers on the Formula One grid, has endured a crash that didn't just disrupt his Friday session. It could very well derail Ferrari's entire Canadian Grand Prix campaign. However, the true drama lies not only in the crash itself, but in the aftermath, the reactions, the damage, the consequences, and how even Lewis Hamilton, in his first season with Ferrari, finds himself caught up in the chaos. Before we dive into the details of what happened, how bad the damage really is, and how this will affect both drivers for the rest of the weekend, do me a quick favor. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and stay with us until the very end. Because what we're about to uncover isn't just another crash. This could be a turning point that shapes Ferrari's entire trajectory for the Canadian race. Let's rewind. It's free practice 1 at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, a track known for being fast, tight, and unpredictable. A street circuit masquerading as a permanent venue. Drivers love it, but it can bite. Just 20 minutes into the session, the first major victim of the weekend was Charles Leclerc. Heading into turn 3, Leclerc locked up. At first glance, it seemed like just another mistake. He ran wide across the chicane, but we've seen drivers recover from far worse. But then, misjudgment hit. Leclerc's Ferrari clipped the wall on the left-hand side. While it didn't look like a brutal crash, no high-speed impact, no red flags, no flying debris, the damage was far worse behind the scenes. When the SF-25 was brought back to the garage for inspection, Ferrari's engineers discovered something that left everyone stunned. The survival cell was damaged. The survival cell, the very core of the car's chassis, is designed to protect the driver in high-speed crashes. And according to FIA regulations, any damage to the survival cell means one thing: a full chassis replacement. Leclerc's car couldn't be patched up, it needed to be rebuilt. Ferrari confirmed shortly after the session that Leclerc would not take part in FP2. The consequences were massive. Missing out on a full practice session meant no long-run simulations, no race strategy development, no tire comparisons, and no data on how the car behaves under high fuel loads. But the damage didn't just impact Leclerc, it affected Lewis Hamilton as well. In a team like Ferrari, both drivers' data is crucial for building the best possible setup. Their data is cross-analyzed and combined to maximize performance. With Leclerc out of FP2, Hamilton was left to gather all the data alone. Every tire compound comparison, every fuel load variation, and every balance experiment. He was carrying the burden by himself. As Martin Brundle pointed out on the broadcast before FP2, that was actually a big crash in terms of damage. It compromises Lewis and Charles through the weekend. He was absolutely right. With a full session of data lost, and Hamilton now forced to gather all the information alone, Ferrari enters Saturday with significantly less data than most other teams. This couldn't have come at a worse time for Ferrari. They're under immense pressure, almost 200 points behind McLaren in the constructors' standings, with no wins so far this season. While Leclerc has managed a few podiums, Hamilton is still searching for his rhythm with the SF-25. Canada was supposed to be a chance for a bounce back, a chance to reset the tone for the team's season. But now, it's a recovery mission. Let's focus on Leclerc for a moment. The timing of this crash couldn't be worse for him. Recently, he's been on fire, fast in qualifying, sharp on race days. Montreal is a track where confidence and rhythm matter, and right now he's lost a huge chunk of preparation. Heading into FP3 and qualifying, Leclerc will have minimal track time, limited setup adjustments, and enormous pressure to perform. And this wasn't just a minor scrape. The fact that the survival cell was compromised tells you everything you need to know. While the impact may have seemed small, the structural stress caused serious internal damage. That's why Ferrari had no choice but to go for a full rebuild. And that rebuild has now pushed weekend onto the back foot. Meanwhile, Lewis Hamilton, who came into this weekend hoping to capitalize on recent momentum and finally extract some consistency from his Ferrari, is now also affected. Without Leclerc's data, Hamilton's job becomes much harder. He has to take more risks in FP2, try more variables, push the limits of setup experimentation on his own. And while he's certainly capable, it's not the position he wanted to be in. The team now finds itself stretched. The engineers have to prioritize one car's setup with double the usual load. The strategists have to make assumptions with half the data. And all of this with one of the tightest, trickiest circuits of the calendar looming just hours away. And let's not forget what FP3 now represents. For Ferrari, it's not just another session. It's their last and only chance to get everything dialed in. Any error on Saturday morning, any unexpected rain, any red flag, and they could be going into qualifying blind. That's the nightmare scenario. So, where does this leave Ferrari heading into the rest of the weekend? Leclerc will return for FP3. Yes, but he'll do so with limited knowledge of how the car behaves on long runs. He'll need to build up confidence quickly, avoid further mistakes, and somehow find enough speed to put himself in the mix. For a driver as talented as Charles Leclerc, it's not impossible, but the margin for error gone. As for Hamilton, this is now a golden opportunity and a massive challenge. He'll need to deliver not just for himself, but for the whole team. His pace, his feedback, his setup direction, everything will be crucial in getting Ferrari back on track. And if he can pull it off, it could be a defining moment in his first season with the Scuderia. So now all eyes turn to what happens next, because this isn't just about a crash. It's about what Ferrari does in the face of yet another moment of adversity. Can they rally? Can they respond under pressure? Can they extract something meaningful from a weekend that started in absolute chaos? For Charles Leclerc, the challenge is steep. Coming back after losing an entire session isn't just about regaining pace. It's about restoring confidence. Confidence in the car, confidence in the team, and confidence in his own ability to push the limits without crossing them. Montreal isn't a circuit that forgives hesitation. It rewards aggression, commitment, and rhythm. Leclerc now has very little margin to get into that rhythm. 1 hour in FP3. That's it. That's all he'll have to reset, rebuild, and prepare himself for qualifying in the race. Maybe the bigger story now is Lewis Hamilton, because while this crash didn't involve him, it absolutely affects him. He's now Ferrari's best hope to salvage the weekend. And that brings its own weight.